Hi, I'm Lynn. Welcome back to my channel, or if you're new, welcome. I hope you like it here. Maybe stay a little bit, subscribe. For today's video, I'm going to be showing you the basics of sewing. I've been sewing for a while I don't really know, but I've been tailoring and upcycling clothes for about 2 or 3 years now, and so I thought I'd put together this video of all the basics of sewing that you need to do something very simple like hemming a shirt. And if you like this video, I might do a series where I'll show you separate tasks like hemming a shirt or hemming pants, whatever. But so yeah, I'll just get right into the video. So first of all, I'm using a standard sewing machine. It's the Singer Heavy Duty 4452 sewing machine. My sewing machine is a little more advanced and I can do a little bit more with it than my first sewing machine I had, which was very simple and all you could do was hem shirts basically. But everything I'll be showing you in this video you can do on any sewing machine. It's the bare minimum basics that you need to know to do simple tasks and to like tailor simple clothing. So everything I show you, you should be able to do on your sewing machine at home. So first I'll show you how to thread the needle and bobbin so that you can sew, obviously, and how to change out the needle in case it breaks. Your sewing machine should come with a couple extra accessories like extra needles and a little screwdriver thing that I'll be using to change out the needle. So that's what I'll show you first. I'll show you how to change out the needle. To change out the needle, I'm using this little screwdriver thing that my sewing machine came with. If yours didn't come with anything, you can use a normal screwdriver or anything you have around your house. Use this to unscrew the little knob next to the needle, and while you're doing this, hold the needle so it doesn't fall into the machine. As you loosen the knob, the needle should fall out and you can just pull it out and replace it with another. Mine's not broken, so I'm just putting the same one back in. I was just doing this to show you how to fix a broken one. When you put the needle back, try and screw it as tight as possible so that the needle doesn't move around or mess up while you're sewing. The next step is to thread the bobbin. Most sewing machines have little graphics all over them with numbers to show you in which order and where you should put the thread, so it should be easier to follow. And it might be a little different on your machine, but for mine, you can see where I'm putting it. Just loop it around and put the end of the thread through the bobbin. Push the bobbin on the little holder thing, I don't really know what it's called, and push it against the stopper. I don't know the technical terms. I'm trying my best here, but you can see in the video. And then turn your sewing machine on, and while holding the thread up from the bobbin, press on the foot pedal and go slow at first, and you might need to guide the thread with your finger, but just start threading the bobbin until it's full. Once you're done with that, cut the thread and take the bobbin off, and then go down to where the needle is, and be careful, don't hook your finger. And there should be a button or something to take off the little clear cover for the bobbin, and then place the bobbin with the thread facing as I'm showing you, and loop it around the metal piece and pull it backwards, and you can follow the directions that should be on the little clear cover for your sewing machine. And before you thread, I'd just like to just point out that the best thread to use is an all-purpose cotton thread. I just buy mine at Joann Fabrics, or you can get it on Amazon, but just make sure it says all-purpose and you can use it for most projects. And depending on what you're doing, you should, or you might need different kinds of threads, but if you're just beginning and doing basic projects, cotton thread should be fine. Next, you just need to thread the thread into the needle, and again, you can follow the arrows and graphics on your sewing machine. That should make it easier, and also you can look at the manual, but you just thread it through following the arrows. And it may be tricky to get the thread through the needle at first, but if you cut it or like lick it a little to get wet so it's pointy to stick it through, it should be easy and you'll get the hang of it after a while. Once you've gotten the thread through the needle, pull it underneath the foot of the sewing machine, which is used to push the fabric down, hold it in place. But so pull that down, and then turn the hand crank that's on the side of the sewing machine just to loop the thread underneath in the sewing machine, and pull the thread back. Alright, next I'll show you how to go between a straight stitch and a zigzag stitch, which are the most basic ones that I use and most basic ones for any projects that you might be doing, at least as a beginner. Like I said, I've been sewing for 2 or 3 years and I've only ever used a straight stitch or a zigzag stitch, so those are the only ones I'm going to show you how to use today, because if you're just beginning or you're very new to sewing, those are probably all you're going to use. The biggest knob on the bottom has all the little images of what kind of stitches you can use, and here's the straight stitch, and right next to it should be the zigzag stitch. Again, it may be different on your sewing machine, but they should be pretty much the same place. The knob right above that one changes the length, at least on my sewing machine. Again, it may be different on yours. This changes the length of any stitch, and above on top of the sewing machine, there's a dial that changes the width of stitches. This one isn't important for a straight stitch, but for a zigzag stitch, it decides how wide it is, which is very important when you're sewing. The two other dials decide the tension and needle position, and I never touch those, so you can probably ignore those for now. The tension, I just leave out what's set, and I don't really notice a difference. And needle position, that isn't really important. I just leave it in the center, how it's set when I take it out of the box. So I haven't ever touched those, so you should be fine leaving them. So first I'll show you how to do a straight stitch. So turn the dial onto the straight stitch setting, and then for the length, I go between 2 and 3. I don't want it to be too wide. Again, it depends on the fabric you're using, but 2 to 3 should be fine. Don't make the length of a straight stitch too small, otherwise the fabric will bunch up and it'll look funny. And then for the width, this doesn't apply to a straight stitch, so I just turn the dial all the way to 6. And then put the fabric underneath the foot, and in the back of the sewing machine there should be a little lever that you can push down to get the foot flat onto the fabric, and this will hold it in place. I like to turn the hand crank down before I start sewing just to make sure the thread stays in place, and then do a few stitches forward, and then there should be a reverse button on top. You just push this down and then go back a few stitches and then continue sewing. You should go back a few stitches when you're starting a project so the thread stays in place and doesn't come out of the fabric, and then do the same exact thing when you come to the end of a stitch. Just push down the reverse button and then let it go back a few stitches and go forward again a few stitches. This just holds all the fabric and make sure that your hard work doesn't go to waste and your project all stays together. Then just lift up the lever on the back to lift the foot up off of the fabric and pull it out of the way, and then just trim the thread, and this is what a straight stitch should look like. Now I'll show you how to do a zigzag stitch, which is very similar in technique to how you would sew a straight stitch. The only difference is you need to turn the dial to a zigzag stitch, and for length I go between 2 and 3 again, just pretty much the same. Maybe a little bit bigger, maybe 3, closer to 3. Zigzag stitch is best for sewing stretchy material. Depending on how stretchy it is, you might need to go longer in length or shorter. But if you're just using a zigzag stitch for a design, it's just what you want it to look like. And then you need to change the width, and I've never set to 6. That will be a very wide stitch, and then the fabric will move a lot. So I usually do between 2 and 3 again. And then just like you did with the straight stitch, lift up the leather to bring the foot up, put the fabric underneath, put the lever down, and then sew straight. And then just push on the foot pedal slowly at first and go straight a few stitches, back a few, and then keep sewing whatever you're making. Also, I should point out that in the sewing machine there are little like grips that grab the like if the fabric's here, they push the fabric back as you're sewing, so you don't need to move the fabric too much with your hands, otherwise you might move it too much and it'll get all weird looking. But you do want to make sure it stays in place and along the line that you are trying to sew, and it doesn't go off the fabric or onto something else. I don't know what, but also obviously don't move your hands too close to the needle. You don't want to sew yourself into the project, that would really hurt. So yeah. So that's pretty much all the basics you need to know for being a beginner sewer or for your first few projects. Like I said, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and I'll do a series. Maybe I'll go into detail on other projects like humming. I'll show you how to hem a shirt, maybe make a scrunchie or crop pants, just simple things that you might need to know if you're sewing just basic projects or like for your own clothing. So give it a thumbs up if you want that, or comment what videos you want to see me do. And yeah, thank you so much for watching this video, and you can check out my Instagram for outfit inspiration and see what I'm doing every day, and follow my other Instagram. I have an Instagram to promote my Depop. You can see the projects I'm working on, you can see in the process of those projects, and you can stay up to date and get notifications for when I post on Depop. And speaking of my Depop, you can follow that for all these products I'm making and selling, and I'm working on a lot of new things I'm excited for, so follow that to buy my projects. Yeah, so give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe also. Please join our little family. And yeah, I hope this video was helpful, and I'll see you next week. Thanks for watching. Peace out, Girl Scout. Bye.